Give me Ben Hartsock because look, you and I did radio together for a very long time. Now
Yeah.
you do the show before my show, so we don't get a chance to. But you and I have always had great conversations, open conversations about the future of college football. I was like at SEC spring meetings, and so I heard a lot from ADs and coaches and what they wanted to do. What does Ben Hartsock want to do with the college football playoff?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think we are in an era in society that we are designer everything. We want to design every perfect possible outcome. Whether you're a high school kid trying to be a start or a middle school kid trying to start on high school, whether you're a high school kid trying to play in college, a college kid's trying to play in pros, the college team trying to make it to the playoff. We want to fine tune. It's risk mitigation. It's like Ruben Pfeffer from Along Came Polly. You want to mitigate your risk and make your desired outcome as high as you possibly could. And the postseason, the fact that we've had one iteration of the 12-team playoff and immediately we're starting to fine tune it. We want to tweak it just a little bit to get a more perfect outcome. I understand it might be justified to make that adjustment to go from conference championship seeding to straight seeding because of last year's output. But next year it might be completely different, and a team that deserved to get a bye as a championship team, will be taken, have that taken from them, and we'll be like, well, we need to switch it to something else. So I think all of this stuff and the playoff is no different. We are very much in an era where we can change these things and fine tune them. And as a result, maybe we'll have a more balanced bracket like we didn't have this year. But the unintended consequence is the meaningfulness of the conference championship games is diminished. Those win or go home games or the bye that came as a benefit of those go away.
Yeah, they certainly do. And the big talk down in spring meetings was, the format's going to change. Like, what do we want it to change to? And that was one of the changes, Ben, obviously, like changing the seeding process. But it's like now, okay, let's get to 16 teams. And for me, I'm in favor of going, hey, 5 automatic qualifiers if you win your conference. I am all for that because winning your conference should mean something. Like, you should get in there. Yeah. And then 11 at-larges. I do not need 4 bids automatically to the SEC, 4 to the Big Ten. I just don't need that. I need the 11 best teams after the 5 champion. And look, let's go back to a system that all 3 of us won a national championship in, the BCS system. Let's go to something like that because in college baseball and softball, we have what? We always talk about RPI. What do we talk about in basketball season? We got KenPom, we got net ratings, right? Mm-hmm. We got all these rankings, all these numbers, all these analytics. We can do something similar in football, and we kind of did with the BCS. So for me, let's get the 11 best after the champions, and no matter what conference they're in, let's put them in.
So one thing, I don't disagree with you. The 5 plus 11 feels the most merit-based. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to go back to the algorithm. I've been saying this a bunch recently. Like there is so much. The FPI for ESPN came out last week, and we talked to Bill Connolly a lot, who does SP Plus. All these data metrics. A pastor said this to us. It might have been a year or more ago. Pastor said, "Our kids don't need us today anymore for any kind of information. If our kids want to know how to clean a carburetor or build a nuclear bomb, that's all available on the internet very, very easily. But what our kids need us is interpretation." And then the same way with data, we've got so much, we can find out any data point on any team at the snap of a finger. It's the analysis of that data. And an algorithm that is, the KPIs, the FPIs, the SP plus, these things are algorithms that are only as good as the formulas that you put into it that might be weighted. One team or one guy thinks that third down percentage is weighted higher than red zone efficiency. And so I want to have humans be involved in the analysis all the way till the end. That eye test matters to me. And I'm not saying only ball players or coaches can be the people to do it. There's plenty of people that have never stepped foot on a field that know how to analyze football. The BCS era, remember, we went bananas. The sporting public went bananas because we can't have just computers making this decision. Computers can't watch football. So I want to make the people in the room, the committee maybe you could make that more transparent. You could make a C-SPAN and live stream that process. I want the humans in the building. One, because I think the human eye is necessary. And two, I think the biases that you can never get away from, and 8 years into radio, I've learned you're not going to eliminate all bias. Can I be objective towards my team? Can you be objective towards your team? Absolutely. But your lived experience gives you a little different worldview. And that's part of college football's charm, is some of the unreasonable and the human foible nature of it all.
I think you said it best. As long as people have transparency in anything, especially with this, I think we can all at least get on board with it. If, like, you make a decision, I disagree with you, whatever it is, at least I know why. You're not locked in a room for hours, and then you'll just come and tell us, and we have to accept it. But I think we can all agree that there's not a perfect system, whether you use algorithms, computers, people, whatever it is. There's going to be people that get pissed off. There's going to be arguments made against. I think all we can hope for as fans of college football is that there's improvement. We want to see the most deserving, and we want to see the best. How do you figure out that combination? So there's never a perfect situation. So
no, there's not. But I mean, the transparency they are talking about, I think that would help. I always talk about this, and Ben's heard me go off on this. Like, if an official makes a bad call, because if you threw an interception, if Ben missed a block, if I fumbled, we had to answer the question after the game.
Accountability.
Why did you do it? What happened? And I would love that from officials. Hey, I called this because I saw this. Kind of the same system. Like, hey, let's get in those rooms. You know how many people, Ben, you do know, would watch that? Like, behind the doors college football playoff committee, and, you know, whatever analytics that they're using, and they're going over it and hear those conversations of what those ADs and presidents, former coaches, I would tune into every single minute of that.
You guys, well, hold on. Before I start my story, are you guys on a hard out? Do I have a hard out?
No. We let her rip.
Okay. So do you guys, we were all in locker rooms when the analytics era really washed over the NFL.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember your first interactions with analytics?
I mean, no, I do. We brought in somebody from the military into San Diego. Like, it was probably 2012, and it was a former Marine, and they would start to go over different things with us as far as, you know, analytics to everything, like pass protections and footwork and like all those things. Yeah, they brought in somebody for sure.
So when this was during the Panthers era for me. So 11, 12, 13, one of those years, we were down in the weight room the day after a Sunday game. We're on a Monday, light workout, you know, jog, go through the corrections from the previous day. John Masco, the O-line coach for the team, came down and he goes, boys, the scouts and the front office people upstairs, they've got this new thing called Pro Football Focus. And they've got this information that these guys have given every one of you jokers a grade.
Yeah.
And the front office people upstairs have given us this info to these coaches, this new data. And they say that we should make this part of our analysis. This should be part of our evaluation of you day in, day out. And what did we do? We're like, bunch of nerds. These guys don't know ball. You're telling me that some guy in the basement of his mom's house is going to be able to say no, whether or not me and so executed a double team, like, well, whatever. Yeah. Well, fast forward real quick. They had it broken down by team. They had it broken down by offensive unit. They had it broke it down a lot of different ways in that era. Now, remember, this was early. They had us broke down by tight ends. Would you like to know who was the number one overall ranked tight end in the entirety of the NFL in that early Pro Football Focus era?
I'm going to say it's your favorite Yackle, Ben Hartsock.
This guy. And we were like, whoa, hey, let these guys cook. They're onto something here. Maybe they know something we don't.
Yeah.
Man, we had the biggest laugh at that expense. But see, that's the point, is that there was Pro Football Focus has got an algorithm. ESPN's got an algorithm. On3's got an algorithm, and it's only as good. And for that era, it was early in that formula to where they had misweighted run blocking. I can handle myself at the point of attack. I get these two jumper cables on you, I'm going to shock you, right? Yeah. but they had weighted the run block too much and the pass protection too much, but not yet, because I had a 0 on the route running capability or passes received.
Yeah.
So that it was a good example for me to point out these algorithms are good as a tool, but they're not the only tool that we should use.
No, I mean, I'm right there with you. I think it can certainly be something that you use. And just like, look, when I start talking about RPI and net and Kimpal, like all those things, that's not how it's seated, but it is something that they use, and it is heavily involved in the committee, because basketball has a committee, football has a committee, baseball has a committee. All of these sports have committees, but those other sports, have that. Hey, their strength of schedule. Hey, Ohio State this year, they had to go, to Oregon, they had to go to Illinois, and they had to go to Michigan. Like, that should mean something. So that's what I'm talking about with having that analytic strength of schedule and having, because that's what we talk about with RPI. It's like, this team's 14th in the country, but they got the 3rd highest RPI because, man, did you see who those son of a guns had to play on the road this year? And that's why I want to use that analytic. Although it's not seeding it like a computer, humans are still doing it, but they have that resource.
Yeah, and to go back to the question of like, what do we want to change? What do we want to see? I think the SEC was floating this of on championship weekend, conference championship weekend, and having 1 versus 2 obviously being in the championship game, but then those bonus games that we got that during COVID, right? 3 versus 4 would face off, 5 versus 6, kind of a good on good, as in a world where hopefully 3 and 4 and 4 and 5 are going to be competing for justification to convince the committee we're good enough to make one of those at-large bids. I think that's a really interesting and compelling, and of course the networks are going to love it because it's content and more games, whereas conference championship weekends usually just the championship games. More content is never a bad thing. I like that idea.
Ben, on the way out here, you and I have talked a lot of college baseball before, and I got with Bobby yesterday. I'm like, look, hey, there's no Big Ten teams. The old Big Ten, UCLA sure is in there. Can I count on you to root for the LSU Tigers in the College World Series?
Yeah, I mean, I'm wanting to go down to Rocco's Bar and order a bunch of Jell-O shots, man. I'm doing my part. I'm ready to chip in.
Look, have RV, will travel. That's all you got to tell me. I know it's busy right now. It's taking care of the pageant, but if it needs to go to Omaha, you let me know.
I'll be there.
We've talked about that before. I mean, you said you would pick me up in Shreveport.
I know. Every year I say I'm going to get to more college basketball games, and then I don't, and then I want to get to Omaha, and I want to get to a baseball game or softball World Series, and I haven't. These kids, man, pageant life's just sucking all my free time. Lacrosse tournaments
Pageant
for
life.
my younger.
That's right.
It's, pageant life, man. I'm telling you guys, your daughters, keep them away from pageants.
Yeah.
I heard owning horses was the most expensive extracurricular a human can have. No, it's pageants. Do not do pageants.
Hey, well, now that you're in it, best of luck. I've had the chance to meet your daughter, so certainly rooting for her. Hope she goes out there and wins Miss Georgia and moves on, and you've got more money to spend, sir.
Man, Miss America is a whole new.
Can you imagine how many days? How many days you got to rent a
that RV's
hotel?
going to be there for 24 days if we go Miss America. So, hey, best of luck, Ben. You're the man. We appreciate it, sir, and look forward to the next conversation always.
Appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.